if I get what Luis and Maria are saying, this is a good start, as imperfect as it is, this bill is a good start. What's your solution if this is a no-go?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that this is not about immigration. This is, at this point, it's
illegal
about
aliens.
invasion. Okay,
Yeah.
this isn't, no longer reflects immigration. This is invasion when you have up to 20 million illegal aliens. Everybody that I know of supports immigration. It's the illegal invasion that we're upset about, and it's the rule of law.
What about that point, Maria and Luis?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I'm hearkening back to the Chinese Exclusion Act, when they didn't want the Irish, when they didn't want the Chinese, when they didn't want anybody. This is the history of this country. This is the values of this country. This is the needs of this country. Immigration is a historical, natural phenomenon throughout history.
When you come legal.
And we do want orderly immigration. That's why we need some laws
That's the
to
one
make that
point I think
orderly
everybody
immigration.
can agree on, correct?
But
That
you keep saying
everybody,
want, but
but
want
everybody
doesn't make it
wants
count.
orderly immigration. The business community and their other sectors are saying we need to reform this, but is it possible that we have so much illegal immigration because the workforce needs aren't well reflected in our current immigration policy?
Well, let me say this to that. We can't even keep track of 20 million illegal aliens. How are we going to keep track of about 103 million more people coming in here?
But that's
taking
just
up
pure
your jobs?
hypothetical and speculation.
No,
We
that's
really,
historical.
they could be coming in right now under the current system. What is your solution then? If this is wrong, how do you stop it?
We are a democracy, and we are founded on the rule of law. And if that goes away, we are going to no longer be a democracy. We are going to evolve into total chaos. The solution is attrition by enforcement. Let's start enforcing the laws.
Absolutely.
And we have to enforce the laws. And when are we going to do that?
The
It's
status
certainly not going to
quo-
be with this bill.
Status quo is broken. The system is not working. That's why we need comprehensive immigration reform to solve this problem.
Can I say,
Crow was law, slavery was law. There gets to a point where you need to reform law to reflect the current realities, both morally, both historically and economically.
Open borders is going to have serious detrimental aspect to this country. Once we start losing our fundamental principles like the rule of law, open borders, we have lost control of this
Precisely because we want
country.
the rule of law. We want a law that's workable, that's real, that reflects the needs of our country and the values of our country.
we have discussed periodically in this discussion the FIU study, and some of the components of the study that compared U.S. Residents to recent immigrants to Florida came out with three findings. It says that number one, immigrants are just as likely to have advanced degrees and nearly as likely to have bachelor's degrees. Two, they are more likely to be entrepreneurs. And three, they contribute equally or more to the economy as measured by taxes paid and assistance received. Now, David, you don't agree.
No, that study by FIU, first of all, does not include significant costs such as emergency health care, education, incarceration. If they cut all the costs like they did in the FIU study, of course it's going to look rosy. But more importantly, with that FIU study, they did not break out illegal immigration versus legal immigration. And the issue today is illegal immigration. I think as I said, we support legal immigration. So that study is irrelevant. The flows are different.
Is there any component of this bill that you agree with? Any component?
The end of the chain migration.
Okay. Maria, this FIU bill, this FIU study indicates that most immigrants are entrepreneurs and they have bachelor's degrees. But there is that serious flaw that David talks about, which is it doesn't distinguish between legal and illegal immigrants. Is that important?
In real life, not just in political speak, in real life, families have mixed status. And legality or illegality is not black and white, unfortunately. I hate to tell you that. people who have applied for asylum, who are in process of their work permits, people who have temporary protected status, legal permanent residents, U.S. citizens. There's a whole continuum. And within families, you may have people in all that continuum. So it's not, you cannot just separate, oh, we want legal immigrants and not illegal immigrants, because people exist in families. And if you don't recognize families, you don't recognize the basic building block of society.
Is the guest worker program a viable alternative?
No, it's not.
Why? It's legal?
Bring in too many people when you have too many millions of Americans
What
out
if
of
I
a job.
told you sounded racist? What if I said this is a legal process and you don't want them in here because they are different, they speak a different language or a different skin color?
Absolutely wrong.
They came legally.
Hey,
You're not racist.
I don't care what color or what kind.
media.
I'm not a racist, and I'm not. So I'm not afraid to admit that I'm not a racist. Look, I love all people. I'm a ham operator. I talk to people all over the world. I've contacted 356 countries, governments, islands, and every municipality chain in the world.
I'd like to add to that.
I've been to plenty of foreign countries where I've been taking
So it's just a matter of not increasing.
Hispanic friends.
It's just not an issue of increasing foreign workers.
Once you put
in
up
the
a border,
United States.
you actually have a paper tiger. You have absolutely nothing.
So for you, you need a stronger border system.
Yeah, you need about a 3,000-mile border
David.
with about a 100-foot cement wall.
It's the pro-enforcement side that does not mention race. It's always the media and the other side that brings up race. Last time I was on the show, you essentially asked me whether I was a racist. And frankly, I find that offensive. I have not mentioned race. I don't look at this as racism, and yet the media keeps promoting that.
Well, the reason it's asked is because when there is a legal issue, if you have a legal guest worker program and you still oppose that, and it's not opening borders, but it's a process whereby you're permitting people to come here, and you say no to that as well.
It says people, but it doesn't say what race.
What? But it says, but why are you opposed to that? You're asking your
because of
people
economics and stealing jobs.
But you see, but there are those who are racist, and that's why it's important for you to clarify.
Those that are not, like myself.
And that's why, and there are many who are not.
And there's plenty who are anti-American as well, but I don't hear that brought up by the media.
And that, well, being racist, some would say, is anti-American. But I think it's an absolutely great point that you make, but it's important for people to understand from your position that you can have this position and not be racist.
You want a Mexican racial group? It's called the Mature Group. M-E-C-H-A.
Luis Cerros. If this, Cerros, I'm sorry, if this bill were to go through, and it's very questionable, but if this were to go through, do you think that undocumented workers, illegal aliens, are going to submit to the process?
Of course. I mean, this is not the best, but this is a good starting point. There are some things that we don't like. There are some things that we like about the bill. But it's a good starting point, and people want to go through the process. I mean, people have to pay heavy fines. They're going to have to pay back taxes with penalties. So this is not something they're going to be given to them. They're going to have to work for it very hard.
And that's the last word. Thank you so much to Maria Rodriguez, David Caulkett, Luis Cerros, and Enos Schera for joining us. Coming up, we discuss Florida's January primary date. Stay with us.